Cool.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's Q&A on direct ad orders. I'm excited to be able to bring this presentation to you. I know it's something that has been requested by our publishers, so thank you so much for putting that request in. It helps us to bring the content to you that you're looking for. So today on the call, I'm joined by Paul Round. Paul Round wears a lot of different hats within Ezoic, and so it's ideal to be able to present this information to you and answer your questions. So Paul is our VIP Publisher Success Manager, is also the lead of our emerging markets here at Ezoic, which is an exciting new part of the business, and then also is part of the revenue operations board that looks after and is part of direct ads. So I'm going to pass you over to Paul in just a moment. Do let us know any questions that you've got about direct ads in the comment feed, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. If you put your comments in, we'll see them and Paul will answer them. With today being about direct ads, we'll only answer questions today about the direct ad orders app or how to use direct ad orders as part of your business. If you do have any general questions, then please go to our Ezoic community. So this website here, and ask your questions on there, and we'll be delighted to help you through that. So I'll pass you over to Paul to start the session today.
Brilliant. Thanks for the introduction there, Heather. Yeah, essentially today I'm here as a resource, more, for an opportunity to answer questions around direct deals, about when I've seen them used well, when maybe I've seen them not used quite so well, demystify a bit of how to set them up, what we should be looking for. I can maybe run through some terminology, a bit about how to price direct deals effectively to know that you're getting a good deal. Pretty much anything that you have. So with that in mind, what I'd love to do really is to throw that out there and see if any questions come in, as I find that being led by questions is probably more useful than something that's slightly generic in approach. So initially, I'm going to see if there's any questions, and then we can take it from there. Heather, just to confirm, I should see the questions come up on the side, correct?
Yes, that's right, correct. It's in the comments box. All the questions that come in from Facebook and YouTube will be displayed directly in there.
Perfect. Cool. So we'll give that a minute or two to see if anything comes through. If not, I can speak at a relatively high level. But like I said, comments and questions, always much appreciated, just to sort of nudge us in the right direction. I guess one that I could throw out, is there anyone out there who's currently considering incorporating direct deals into their business, or someone who, is using direct deals and maybe wants to sort of get some advice or potentially share some of their experiences? That's probably a pretty good place to start. Let's see what people say. We have a question. Excellent. Hi, Ekimini. I've always thought about posting direct ads for individuals and companies, but how do I prove to these individuals that their ads are getting impressions and clicks? Probably a two-pronged discussion here. The second part's relatively easy. So how do I prove that they're getting impressions and clicks? If we are running direct ads through Ezoic's direct ads app, essentially what we do is we funnel everything through a Google account manager account that we run. So that's essentially an API that goes straight through to Google, and from there we can track both clicks and impressions. That data is actually shown in the dashboard too. So under the monetization, under the ad sales section, if you're running a campaign, we report those stats directly in your Ezoic dashboard. So, if you are running a campaign that has 10,000 impressions that you guaranteed someone, that's all recorded, and you can show that information very easily just with a copy paste of the display. So yeah, like I said, that's just a Google API, and we pull that all through, so it's accurately recorded and represented. With regards to the first part of your question, you always thought about doing it for individuals and companies. It's best to reach out to them directly to obviously initiate that contact and get the creatives that they want you to serve on their behalf. But it should be a fairly easy conversation. When it comes to showing ads on Ezoic, if any format that's currently supported by DoubleClick or Google Ad Manager, depending on how you know that product to be, we can support. But directly through the Direct Deals app, we can either run with sort of more traditional ad creative, so href and the SRC image combination, or you can now upload JPEGs and add the URL manually in the dashboard there, which is cool. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to do, especially if you have a good relationship and the deal makes sense. So if it's something that you've thought about doing but haven't come around to trying, I would say that I would probably let programmatic run for the next couple of weeks. Although Black Friday ad spend maybe hasn't come in the form, or I should say Q4 spend hasn't come in the form that we're expecting, I would still expect it to outperform more sort of direct sales unless it's a very good deal. So yeah, I would start to think about, as a strategy, maybe looking to run this towards the back end of December, beginning of January. But to answer your question with a very simple answer is we report all that data in the dashboard, and you can very easily go and pull that information and share that with the companies to show them how the campaign's performed.
Thanks for your question, Robert, and thank you, Paul, for taking us through that answer. Just while we're waiting for the next question to come in, I've got one, if that's okay. So I'm in the process of building my first website, and what I'd really love to know is, how do I go about approaching companies to be able to work with them directly? Is there any format I should look out for, or anything that I should kind of put into Google to kind of find these companies?
Is that sort of more of a top end? How do I go around attracting an advertiser? I would say, from that perspective, if you're writing about a specific topic within a specific niche, I would say, approaching them directly and saying, look, this is my stock example, so take this with a pinch of salt. But say I'm a food blogger and I'm writing about HelloFresh and the virtues and why you should sign up to HelloFresh. I can message them and say, hey, look, I'm running this article on my site. I would love some direct advertising to show on this page. That could be in the form of creatives and also a affiliate link, right? In that position, it probably makes sense to sort of have some sort of collaboration, because they're going to directly benefit from that sort of takeover, if you will. But yeah, it's about matching your product to the and the value that has to what the company's looking for. So essentially, it's sales, right? You need to go out there and pitch the value of your page to the individual, to make sure that they know why they should be investing their creators onto your page, right? Some coffee there. But yeah, it's about finding the right person in the right company. Exactly what that looks like, depending from company to company, that's a great question. And it could be different depending on who the relevant point of contact is at said company. But yeah, understand the value, understand who it is you're trying to target, understand why, and then take it from there. Would be my advice.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
A few more comments coming in. You tried adding direct ads, but even though you added the creatives were not getting uploaded. Try for the URL and JPEG, but it still asks for creatives. That sounds like there's either an issue with the creative in question, or something else is happening. I've seen it happen if we detect that the file isn't a, you know, I'm not going to say malware, but like in the past, if it's not been right, we just haven't allowed it to be uploaded. So I would say that sounds more like a support issue, because you should be able to upload things in both formats. So I would drop support a message and be like, this isn't working, and it will probably come back to me in some way, and I can take a look at it internally on our ticketing system with the information in front of me. But I would say that's more of a specific bug or individual issue rather than it being anything else. We have a question around getting paid by Ezoic. So I know Heather said at the start, the idea behind this is to keep the conversation directly to direct ads and not to be sort of sidetracked by other questions. But I'll answer that one very quickly. It's the 30-day basis. So you will be paid November's revenue at the end of December is the way that we work. And then Gaurav said hi, and hi back. But yeah, I would say, Sharon, that it's probably something more site specific rather than it being general. So I would message support, and it's something that, or asking the community, and it's something that we can help with from there. Is that sound good, Heather?
Yeah, that sounds perfect, and that way, Siobhan, we can dig into that for you, and like Paul says, just to see if there's any any issues going on there. Thank you everybody for the questions you've sent over to Paul so far. We've got just under 20 minutes left now of this Q&A session. I know that Guav was really interested in this session. So thank you, Guav, so much for joining us today. I really hope that you're enjoying it and getting what you need from it. If anyone else has any feedback in terms of Q&A sessions that they would like us to do, please do let me know in community, and I'll get those arranged. And if anyone's watching this live feedback in community after today, do let us know any questions that you've got in the live feed thread. I look out for the questions in there, and I'll either answer them or speak to Paul and get the information from himself. Like I mentioned at the start of the call, Paul is involved within the revenue operations team, and so has knowledge about this subject directly. So any questions you've got about direct ads, do feed them over.
There's a question. Is there a web page where I can go read about direct ads? There absolutely is. I have it in front of me here. Heather, is it possible for me to leave a comment which has a link to an article?
Yes, you should be able to drop it straight into the comment box. If not, I've got them up on my screen here, and they might be the right ones. I could drop them in for Robert as well.
Cool. I have shared the one that I want to share with you now, and that basically outlines how it all works. And actually, if you get to the bottom of that article, it still doesn't make sense. There's I think another webinar that I did maybe about a year ago where I talked through direct deals again. So if you don't get all your answers to your questions from this, there's another video. If you can bear to listen to me rabbit on for another 45 minutes or so. So there should be enough in there. Again, another question that's not directly related to direct deals. It's more related to Humix. I would ask that to the community, because that's not the focus of today's session, although a relevant question. But I would look to ask there, because we're going to keep this slightly more focused today. How to get direct ads order payment? That's a good question. That's one that I can talk about here. So Ezoic doesn't pay out, or doesn't pay you for any deal that you set up as a direct ad order. The idea behind the direct ad orders is that that's a deal that you broker, that's a deal that you own, but the value is represented in Ezoic. Now, why do we ask you to run it through Ezoic? A couple of salient reasons. One is it gives you all the information in one place, which is really useful. So you can have access to all of that at a snapshot. You get a true overview of how your website's performing. The other is it's the way our machine learning works. We want it all run through Ezoic placeholders to make sure that that's working as intended. So say, for example, Gaurav, if you were to set up a direct ad order with, go back to my HelloFresh example because it's nice and easy. So you're with HelloFresh, who, they're a food subscription service. They deliver you meal boxes. You would say to them, hey, I'm going to show, like, do you want to show ads on my page? They'd say, yes, we'll give you, X amount of money, this number of impressions. You say, perfect. You do the impressions. You come back to them and say, hey, HelloFresh, I have done all these impressions as requested. Can you pay me now? And then they give you the money. So that's how it works. Yeah, it's a direct relationship that you that you own outside of Ezoic, but we can run it through our system.
That's great. Thank you, Paul, and thank you everybody for your questions. I've just shared some articles there into the comments. So the first one is Paul's training that he's done about direct ads. So that's the webinar that he's done, which is like an in-depth step-by-step guide and insight into direct ads. I then shared a support article which takes you through a breakdown of what the direct ad orders app is, and then just a general article which just talks you through direct ads in general. So depending on sort of where you are in your journey with direct ads, if you're a beginner like I am for my website, you might want to start with just a general article first, just to help get an insight into that, and then go on to the support article and then the trainings. So we've got about 10 minutes left today. Do make sure you get your questions in just as soon as you can. We will finish this session early if you all are happy that you've got your questions. That then frees Paul and myself up to be able to answer other queries that we have. So please let us know your questions just as soon as you can.
Another good question's come in. So I guess the question is the way of phrasing it, like, do I have to pay any money up front to Ezoic for us to let them run these direct ads? The answer is no. No, this is actually something that we don't actually run at any kind of profit to us. It's just helping you facilitate and helping you make as much money as possible. So no, direct ads are not something that Ezoic takes any percentage of. So you keep everything that you negotiate with a third party. And actually, on the subject of negotiation and revenue and such, it's one of those things where we can ask for more when it comes to direct deals. So I'm not sure how many of you are currently using Premium, but in Ezoic Premium you get access to the yield level data. Now, yield level data will show you certain placeholders and how much they're earning, right? So really useful report, especially when it comes around to direct deals. So say, for example, my top of the page placeholder makes me, I don't know, so like $20 a month, right? And HelloFresh come in and say they will give me like $15 a month for that location. Not worth it, right? Because that's clearly less than what I'm currently being paid. If they come and they say, hey, we're going to give you $40 for that location for the month, then yeah, suddenly it becomes worth it. So you can price your inventory and understand exactly how much it's worth to make sure that direct deals that you set up are worth your time instead of them being a net loss. Sorry, I've seen a lot of people who run like their site. Someone comes along and offers them money for a direct ad. They get very excited. They think that's it. This is their moment. They've made it as a publisher because someone wants to advertise on their page without realizing that actually it's not as good a deal as what they're currently getting. So like with everything, the more data we have, the better insights we can make. And I would say that that's especially so for direct deals. Can we run direct ads on 101 ad placeholders or vignettes? Not currently. No, not on vignettes. Google kind of controls vignettes and the triggering of them. 101 ad placeholder. Heather, am I missing something with that question?
I think 101 add placeholder. Guav, are you referring to the anchor ad in terms of that placeholder, or is there a specific placeholder that you've seen that you would like to run the direct add on? I think, is it 100, Paul, that's the anchor ad placeholder? I can't quite remember. So Guav said yes, anchor. Thank you for clarifying, Guav. So yes, Paul, Guav's question is, can we run direct ads on anchor ad placeholders?
Yes, we can. Yep. Yeah, we can do it on anchor ads. It's just vignettes at the moment that we can't, because that demand is still pretty heavily controlled on Google's end. But yeah, also with the value that Google gives you for pop-ups, I would stick using their vignette. So. And when it comes around to like how we target and all of these sorts of things, it can get complex, but the idea behind it isn't overly complicated. So when we're setting orders up, which is what the video that Heather shared runs through, we have to select sizes, we have to make sure that the campaign's set up correct, we have to look at locations. If there's certain pages in isolation we want things to show on, we can use meta tags to make sure that we're setting up the key value pairing in Ezoic to match that specific tag on the page. And we can get quite granular, but at a top level, yes, absolutely, we can set it to anchors.
That's great. Thank you, Paul. And thank you, everyone, for the questions that you've sent in. So we've just got a few minutes left. We'll wait here for a couple of more minutes just to see if there's any last questions coming in. After that, we will close the Q&A session for today. If there are any other topics that you would like covered on Q&As, please do let me know in community. I'd love to be able to set up more of these sessions for you and be able to bring specialists to you so that you can ask your questions and get them answered on a live session. What I'll do after today as well is on the community thread, I'll put in the articles that I've shared in the comments today. I'll put them in the threads there. So don't worry if you haven't bookmarked them. Do head over to community after today and you'll be able to bookmark them from there.
Can we upload a banner in direct ad orders? Yes, you can indeed. That's the idea behind it, is that you can now upload pretty much everything that you need in that app and run it from there. Whether it be a JPEG or other image types. And then we need to make sure we get the right size, target the right location on the page. Obviously, we don't want to target a 970 by 250 to a 300 by 600 sidebar ad. So we need to make sure that we're looking and selecting the right locations on the page for those sorts of things. But yeah, that is totally possible. But again, I say all this, it is possible, but I've seen lots of people make mistakes by uploading direct ads. So I would say make sure that the value is going to be better than what you're going to get with programmatic. Otherwise, it's not a good decision. We don't want to cannibalize guaranteed revenue in the hope of generating additional revenue. In some circumstances, I think it works very well. And as I've said, I think short campaigns in isolation that match the content on the page, it works really well. But sometimes not so much.
That's great. Thanks, Paul. So we've just got a few minutes left, everybody, before the session finishes today. If you do have any last minute questions for Paul, please do put them in the comments box, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. The comments do come straight through to us and we'll be able to see them and get them answered for you. If you're watching this on a playback, please do head over to our community thread. It's called Live Q&A Direct Ads. I will have done when you're watching this playback. I'll have uploaded the resources that we've been talking about today, so that you can learn more about direct ads. But please do let us know any additional questions that you've got in there. I'll keep an eye on that thread and get the answers to you, either by answering them myself or by speaking to Paul and getting the answers to you through him.
Are there any more questions at this moment in time? We may be running out of steam, Heather.
Yeah, thank you everyone so much for the questions that you have sent over to us, and thank you, Paul, so much for your time today. What we'll do is we will close the session now. Do look out for other Q&A sessions.
2 questions have come in just as we said that. So I'm going to answer those very quickly, if that's okay. Sorry to cut you off, but I saw them come through. Can you get an identifier from the advertiser and use it on a direct ad where the advertiser can also use to track clicks on their end? Like a UTM source, potentially, yes. If they've run deals in the past, yeah, that should be fine. I would say that we, like I said, we pull our tracking from Google, but yes, advertisers can insert a click macro so they can see when clicks are being triggered. So yeah, that's totally possible. What if I upload banner ads directly to my site? What makes direct ad orders special? I kind of touched on that briefly before. So what makes it special? Why are we running it through this instead of just having it on the page? I guess partly it's to do with tracking actual interaction. If it's just an image on the page, can we properly monitor its performance? Maybe you have a way of doing that, maybe not. One of the main reasons why we run everything through our system is that it allows our AI to have overview of it. So, and this is why unwrapped ads in general on Ezoic are bad for performance. By having ad locations within placeholders, we're able to see what is a accurate and correct click versus potentially a bounce. So our system is always looking to improve performance. Now, if you have ads on a page, but you're running an unwrapped ad, if we were to see a user click on that image, the system would see that as a negative action, right? Or wouldn't be able to take that into consideration. That's an ad click. This is what we were looking to do. So it could then make a change because it sees it as a bounce. And then if you have that happening over and over and over, the system is then in a position where it's chasing its tail, trying to correct an error that doesn't exist. So when we put it through the direct deals ad, it goes through an Ezoic placeholder. It's considered as part of our performance and enables us to run our optimizations as intended. On top of that, I also mentioned the fact that when we have everything in one place, we can make a holistic decision about website performance. So by having the accurate spend of the direct ad campaign in your Ezoic analytics allows you to have that oversight over how the domain is performing as a whole, rather than having multiple different spreadsheets in different places. So what's the difference? Apart from everything I just mentioned, essentially nothing. But the reality is having it run through the system is much better. Once you create the ad order, you go in, you select where you want it to show. So you'd say, I want this to show at the top of the page. I want this to show on the sidebar. And there's a drop down where you can select where on the page you want it to show. If you have multiple creatives, you want it to show all over the page, then yeah, it will choose that. But we can target it to specific locations.
Okay, thank you everyone so much for joining us today and all the questions that you've asked. We really appreciate your time here, and thank you, Paul, for joining us today and taking us through all your expertise and knowledge. I really appreciate your time.
No worries. And like Heather said, if people have questions that come up after, if Heather shares the community page with me, I can also keep an eye on it and answer questions as and when they come up. So.
That's perfect. Thank you, Paul.
No
Take care,
worries.
everybody. Bye for now.
See you guys.